my stamping friends. It's good to be here. This is Amy with amyrich.net, and I'm Stampin' Nut and Nutso Stamper on social media, as you maybe know. And we are here today to create not one, but two paper pumpkin projects, one from April and one from May. Since life was a little bit crazy, I am a little bit behind, but I love them both, so I really wanted to share them with you. So whether or not you are a paper pumpkin subscriber, I'd like to invite you to come on and watch, because there are some great fun folds in store for you. April's kit is absolutely gorgeous. It's called Delicate Wings, and it has all of these beautiful gold foil accents on the card bases and such. And we're going to create actually a really simple fun fold with this, starting with these particular pieces from the kit. So we have one of the butterflies, this one, which you're going to want to pop out those wings. We're going to make them fly a little bit, and you can bend them. Yes, they'll get squished, but we like them with dimension in there, regardless of what's going to happen to it later. That's my theory. One of the labels, and then two of the card bases, one of which I've cut up here a little bit already. We're going to start with the basic gray Stampin' Spot and the Sending Loving Thoughts Your Way stamp. This stamp comes in the kit, and if you received the kit back in April, you will notice, and actually I need to stamp that on something else first, because I can tell it's got a little, yeah, see, got a few issues there. I'm going to do it one more time. It's good to use your stamp before you use it actually on the product that you want, just to rough it up a little bit and make it ready to accept ink, I guess is the best way to describe it. So anyway, you can go, if you have received this kit and you are, or if you are just a paper pumpkin subscriber in general, you can go back and purchase the refill of this kit. Now, it won't include the stamps or the ink, but it will include all of the paper supplies. And you could create lots of these cards with those refills if you would like. It's kind of a bendy pop-out card that we are making. So I'm going to set these aside, and we're going to do some cutting on these. So let's do that part next. I have cut already a card base for our card. And this card base is regular 8.5 by 5.5. And then it is scored at, oh gosh, let's see if I can remember. Well, I can always check. 2 1/8, 4 1/4, and then 2. Oh, it's okay. It's a different size than I was thinking. We are taking a card base that is 8.5 by 5.5, or 8 by 5.5, scored at 2, 4, and 6. Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've made this card. Can you tell? So we are creating pieces now that are going to layer onto there. So we know that they are, each panel is 2 by 5.5. So we're going to cut this down to 5 1/4. Oh, I've already done that. And then cut these at 1 3/4. And I'm going to cut 2 of those and set them aside. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing now with this one. So we're going to put it in at 5 1/4, and we're going to cut 4 pieces at 1 3/4. So 1, 2, and then there's that score line there. So I'm going to flip to the other side and go 3 and 4. I'm sure there's something amazing somebody would want to do with that. So I'll wait to see what that is when you show me. Okay, then there are 2 more pieces that we're going to use that are basic beige. And this particular one is 5 by 1, okay? And it's scored at 1/2 inch on each side. And this one is 3/4 by 9.5, it looks like. And that will be our belly band. Bringing in our card base that I showed you, I'm going to score or fold it in half at the score line, and then open it up and fold it like a gate fold. So you've got the 3 folds, and they're all folding in on itself. So if you held it up like this, you can see it could create a little box. But we're going to open those up, and we're going to start by adding our basic gray butterfly pieces. If there are ways that you think is right side up, then go for it. But I think the butterflies tip and turn every which way, so I'm not going to worry too much about that unless it's glaringly obvious one way or the other, which to me, oh, maybe this one has more this way has more upright butterflies. I don't know. All right, then we're going to take our bendy strip, and I'm actually going to just curl that a little bit with my bone folder and bend those two sides back. Then I'm going to use a little liquid glue. I just actually made a bendy card in another class recently, and that was super fun as well. It was a horizontal bendy though, so it was the other direction. All right, so we just want to make sure that our bendy piece here is in between the two score lines. That is super important. And I'm just going to put my bone folder in there to reinforce that adhesive and make sure it is burnished well. So now you can see that bendy part of our card. Look at when you fold it like that, that's what that back fold is for, to get that bend in the bendy piece. Now we're going to add our, I think these are Pretty Peacock. I think this is Pretty Peacock, maybe Lost Lagoon. And we could check the back of our, remember the back of the paper pumpkin thing tells what colors? Basic beige, basic gray, Lost Lagoon, Moody Mauve, and Champagne, not gold, Champagne. All right, so these are Lost Lagoon butterfly sections here. I don't know, it's so hard to choose which is right way up. And while we're on the inside now, we're just going to take this bendy butterfly piece. I shouldn't call it bendy because that's what I called the inside. And we're just going to put adhesive on that very center section. And then that is going to go in the center of our bend, our real bendy piece. And then it will pop out like so when the card opens. Isn't that pretty? Oh, so pretty. And remember, we do have to squish it to put it away. And then two more Lost Lagoon pieces here. So one will go on the left. I didn't even really look at the butterflies on that one. And the other on the right. Okay, now let's open it up again. Ooh, ah. All right, then we'll put our belly band around here and adhere this together. We want it to not be too tight that we can't take it off, but plenty tight that it won't just fall off. We're going to open it up, put adhesive here on this end, and then open this up and put adhesive on this end. So when I fold them together, both ends are secure. Okay, and then we should be able to, there we go, slide it back and forth. And then this butterfly will go in the center of that belly band like that. So I'm going to add a little glue, just like that. Then we have our sentiment piece yet that we made. And that's just going to tuck, actually it's going to stay on the card, tucked under those butterfly wings. We're going to put a couple dimensionals to the left of center so that it only adheres to one of the sides. Okay, so there we go. And there we go. That's April's amazing fun fold card. Now, let's see what we have in store for May's alternate project. Moving on to May's kit, look at the awesome cards this May kit creates. It's got what I would call guy cards. It's called The Best There Is. There is a lot of beautiful paper in it, kind of like the country Woods Designer Series paper in the in the annual catalog. And it looks a lot like some of those patterns. And so I'm going to coordinate some or one of those papers from the annual catalog with what we're making today. So here's what we need from the kit. We need an envelope. Most of my Paper Pumpkin subscribers who come to our Paper Pumpkin party where we create this alternate project are not surprised when I say they need an envelope, because they're printed, they're pretty, and it doesn't take away from the card supplies from the kit if they want to still create some of those cards. So anyway, envelope, one of these pieces, which is fabulous. This is a pre-printed circle. It's a tree, obviously. The stamp set, we're going to use that for something else. We're also going to bring in Early Espresso ink spot. That is from a previous Paper Pumpkin kit, and I thought, why not? Why not bring that out and use it for this card? And then I'm also bringing out the Thanks and Beyond dies. So I cut out the Thanks in Early Espresso. Here it is right here. And this is an add-on product to the, let's see, April, May, and June kits. So we have another month using this in particular. But what I love is if you look at like this right here, you can use this die to do some layering in there if you wanted to. So all of these things are created to go together, and we're just going to use a part of it with the Thanks here today. First thing we're going to do is start cutting up these papers right here. So I'm going to open up my envelope, and you don't have to be too terribly careful, but we're going to open that up and grab our trimmer, and we're going to cut this up a little bit. All right, so we're going to start with the side flap here. We're going to cut it so that it's basically on the score line. And you can see a lot of times, because it's thinner paper, if your blade isn't super new, you might get some of that fraying action. Just pull it off, or take a paper snips and just kind of clean up those edges. Nothing wrong with that. And then I get it in my trimmer too, and I just take my snips and get it right out of there. Okay, then we're going to turn and cut off our big flap at the bottom. And I'm going to go a little bit past, not far, but a teeny bit past the score line, and it'll help create maybe a little bit better cut. I am not going to use this piece, so set that aside. And then I'll trim off this other piece as well. Actually, what we're going to do is cut it at 5 1/4 inches. So 5 1/4 inches. So then we've got 3 really nice straight sides here. And we're going to cut this at 1 1/8. And we need, oh, how many of those? We need 2 of those at 1 1/8 inch. 1 1/8 and 1 1/8. Okay. And then we also need a piece that measures, oh gosh, I have a piece here that we're going to be using. So, okay, we're going to go 2 inches. So let's turn this, cut it at 2 inches, which should almost take you up to that last little fold line in the envelope. But we only need the width of it, and I'll talk about this piece in a little bit. I'm using it to measure right now. We're cutting this piece then at 2 3/4. So the finished piece here is 2 by 2 3/4. And then we're going to do the same thing with this piece right here. We're going to cut the 2 3/4 and then turn it and cut it at 2. So it's 2 by 2 3/4. And then we have this fun paper to play with yet. I think we are, oh, we don't need that. We need these. Okay, I think we're done cutting these pieces. So I'm going to put that away. And then I'm going to bring in all of the extra supplies that we're going to use. There are actually quite a few this time. Sometimes I don't use many supplies for my alternate project, but for this one I did. We're going to start with a piece of 5.5. Oh, actually, we should measure this or give this measurement first. 9 3/4 by 5.5. And I put away my trimmer a little too quickly. We're going to do some scoring on here. So we're going to score at 1 3/8, and because it's easier for me, I'm going to do that first score line by measuring on the right hand side here. So 1 3/8, and then I'm going to turn it and do the other scoring this way. 2 3/4, 4 1/8, and 5.5. Okay, so we got this big crazy piece of cardstock. And this is thick, basic white. And one thing I wanted to show you. So we cut this at 9 3/4 by 5. But if we started at 11 by 8.5, we cut the 5-inch piece off first. So guess what? There's a 3-inch piece here. So when you are cutting the next part, which is this piece, you're simply cutting off this direction because it's already the width you need it for this portion of our card. So this piece that we cut from there is 4.5 by 3. So we had this 3-inch piece, we cut it at 4.5, and then we scored it in half at 2 1/4. So 4.5, scored at 2 1/4, and it's 3 inches wide. That's a lot, but it's all written down here at the bottom of the screen. So use that for your reference. We're going to do a mountain fold with that piece and then open it up and flatten it out again. Go figure. But we're going to start by putting 2 pieces of early espresso with our pieces that we cut from the envelope and that beautiful cardstock that is also kind of similar to some of the designer series paper in the Country Woods collection, or the Country Woods DSP pack. So we're going to layer those on. So we've got this is 2 by 2 3/4, right? So 2 1/8 by 2 7/8. And we did that twice so we could layer both of these pieces. And then guess what? They layer perfectly on this white piece that we prepared. So I'm going to stick those on there. We've got tiny little borders all the way around, so the white makes it pop a little bit. I like the espresso against the white. I think it looks really sharp. So we're going to do these 2 pieces like this. And actually, it's going to go on our card like this when we're ready. All right, now moving on. Setting that aside, let's score on all of these fold lines. So here we've got our 4 1/4-inch section over here where that last score line is. And I'm going to use my bone folder, get that nice and tight. And then we're going to accordion fold all the way. All right, so back and forth. I'm just going to use my bone folder at each and every fold. I am using thick basic white cardstock. You know, it'll get a little thick that way, which is fine. I just want to warn you that it'll get thick, and you could possibly use regular basic white. I just decided to go with the thick basic white because I cut it, and then when I made my first sample, I'm like, oh, maybe not, but I went with it anyway. So then we've got these strips of early espresso that are going to fit in each of these panels here. I've also grabbed some of the Country Woods DSP so that I could layer them on to a couple of these early espresso strips. So let's talk about sizes here. This is 1 1/8 inches. So 1 1/8 by all right, 5 1/4. 1 1/8 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to add each of those now to a piece of 1 1/4 by 5 3/8 inch early espresso. Again, All of the measurements are at the bottom of the screen, so hopefully that'll help you out to be able to create this card or one like it. And these here are going to go in the center 2 sections. So I'm going to fill those in right there. Grab the other one. I think I have too many of those early espresso strips there. And then one will go right here. Okay. And then we have these 2 pieces left, and that's what the pieces from the envelope go to. So we're going to add our adhesive and add those to the strips. Same measurements as before. You can see them below. And then we're going to add those to the other 2 skinny sections here. And then we just really, when we're done with that, we just have to get that part ready. And then the card base is all ready for the focal point. Now we're going to grab, I cut a piece of 4x5 1/4 crumb cake cardstock. And I am going to grab a little grid paper because I plan to stamp over the edge a little bit. But we're going to grab the stamp set. And I just want the trees. You can see they've been used. And oh my gosh, are they going to fit on there? Well, we're going to make them fit. Okay, then we're going to take that early espresso spot that I had from a previous paper pumpkin kit. You can also grab the early espresso ink pad that we have. And we're just going to stamp our trees across the bottom of this piece of crumb cake cardstock. So let's get the whole all right in a row here. I love this tree stamp. It's so pretty. And then, of course, the sentiments that come in this particular paper pumpkin kit are really sweet, too. All right, so we've got those, and that's all we're going to stamp. That's it. Let's add this to 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. Actually, those, I gave you those the wrong way. I like to do the horizontal first. 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Then we're going to add that to the inside of the card. So this is where you do your signing and whatever. Okay. So here we've got a funny looking card, but we have one more piece to add, and that would be this piece right here. Now, I want you to picture it this way. If you squish the first 3 accordions together, your piece will go over those accordions like this, okay? So when you open it up, what you really are trying to do is line up the center score line with the score line between the 2 pieces of the DSP here, the Pool Party ones. And then you want to put adhesive on the back of each of these ends, okay? That way, when it closes, it's attached there and there. All right, so here we go. A strip of adhesive down either side. Squish everything down. Line up that score line with the one here between the 2 DSPs, Designer Series papers. And then adhere them down so that now our card closes like that. Yay! Now we just need to finish decorating this part, which is super easy. So we're going to add a piece of linen thread. So I'm just going to run that through the center here. And we're going to go make a bow up at the top here. So leave plenty of extra to tie your little bow. If you have trouble getting a tight bow, just a suggestion I have for you is hold that left hand down on the linen thread while you're tying. That just helps hold everything down in place and keep it tight. I don't know. Hopefully it'll help. All right, so there's that. And then we're going to add our trees. This is from the kit, remember. So we're going to add dimensionals on about 2/3 of it. So we're going to flip this over and add our dimensionals just on this 2/3. All right, so grabbing dimensionals here. I'm going to create my border over there. And maybe that's all. Should I just do 3? That feels so weird and not like me. But I'm going to do it anyway. All right, so then we'll add this here, making sure my dimensionals are not leaning over the edge there. Okay, so there's that. And now all I need is my thanks. And just here's a little tip. I'm going to add adhesive on the NKS. I'm going to add a couple skinny dimensionals on the back of T and H. And A is just going to hang. A is just going to hang out and have fun. That's what A's do. Yeah. Okay. Enough of that. Here are our little pieces of dimensional. And actually, they might need to be a little skinnier. Let's see how this pans out here. Oh, yes, we need skinnier pieces. There we go. Much better. So I got to cut off the points of these pieces. That helps. Now we can get them skinny. Then we'll add the liquid glue on the NKS. And there we go. Cute. What do you think? So that is May's alternate project. So I hope you have enjoyed both of my paper pumpkin alternates today. Oop, I should maybe put them this way. This one's April, this one's May, and I can't wait to get my hands on my June kit. I'm looking forward to sharing that one in a more timely manner. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed and have taken away some great ideas. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single video tutorial coming your way.